'Tis the season for spooky movies. This video is going to be a rundown of my top 5 horror movies within the Criterion Collection. So all of you Criterion collectors, hopefully you can get 1 or 2 good recommendations from me for this Halloween season. Hello, my name's Elliot and this channel is all about collecting Blu-rays. Luckily, the Criterion Collection has a wealth of horror movies, so it was actually quite difficult to narrow this down to just 5. So I got 6. So if you stick around to the end of the video, you will get 1 extra, which, trust me, is well worth it. Oh, if you want to purchase any of the movies mentioned in this video, there will be links in the description below, and if you purchase through these, it does help support the channel at no additional cost to you. So let's just get into it. This number 1 is a big hitter. Night of the Living Dead. This is from George A. Romero. Classic horror movie. Totally genre defining. It really put zombies on the map as like a subject for horror movies. The amount of films, games, comic books that have been spawned from this initial zombie movie is massive. Like, the influence is so far reaching, so I had to include it on this list. The Criterion disc is amazing. Tons of special features about the making of the movie and reading into the film. The packaging is great. I love this artwork as well. So one of my all-time favourite horror movies and a great package from Criterion. This is spine number 909. So for this spooky season of Halloween, I totally recommend getting this one. Okay, next up, this genuinely might be my favourite horror movie of all time. Like, I have mentioned it a lot when people ask me what is my favourite horror movie of all time. It's The Innocence, directed by Jack Clayton. This film absolutely chills me to the bone. Not just the film, but there are certain images in this film that, even just the still images, just send chills running down my spine. It's a great story based off Henry James's Turn of the Screw, sublimely directed by Jack Clayton, wonderfully acted by Deborah Kerr. What's not to love about this movie? The set design and the cinematography just adds to the chilling atmosphere. So if you've not seen this, I wholeheartedly recommend it. Spine number 727, a great one to watch this Halloween. Number 3 on this list, Rosemarys Baby. Now, conversations about this typically devolve into Polanski as a person and his history. I'm not going to get into that here. I just want to talk about the movie and how great the movie is. It really is a chilling story of paranoia, brilliant suspense. Again, the set design is amazing in this movie. I love the building that it's set in. It's so gothic and iconic in its imagery. The Criterion disc is brilliant. Tons of special features. It's spine number 630. So that's Rosemarys Baby. One of the brilliant modern horror filmmakers is Guillermo del Toro. This is his film Chronos. This was one of his earlier films where he was really kind of getting into the groove of his style, but it's all there. The gothic imagery, the love of horror cinema is all there. I love this movie. It often gets overlooked compared to Pan's Labyrinth and The Devil's Backbone, but Chronos, for me, is where it all began. Chronos is available in the Guillermo del Toro trilogy box set. I don't have that, unfortunately. I really wish I had that box set. But for now, this disc will suffice. There's tons of special features on here. Spine number 551. So if you want some gothic horror, it's that classic Del Toro touch. Look no further than Chronos. If you're enjoying this video of my top 5 Criterion horror movies, please do consider subscribing to the channel because you'd hear about these videos as soon as they get uploaded and you could keep up to date with this awesome community. Anyway, back to the top 5 picks. Number 5 on this list, one that probably doesn't get quoted all that much, but nevertheless I think is amazing and iconic for me anyway. It's Carnival of Souls. This is such a wonderful B-movie of sorts, but it's raised itself to like cult level of appreciation. There is such a big fan base for this movie, and I know it's gone on to inspire so many filmmakers. I believe David Lynch was very heavily inspired by Carnival of Souls, and you totally can see that if you go back and watch this movie. A beautiful black and white imagery, very much a film about paranoia, again, the horror of paranoia and isolation, being in a place where you don't quite feel at ease, there's something off. And carnivals do that for people as well. Like, let's be honest, carnivals and circuses, they're pretty creepy, especially at night when there's no one there. So Carnival of Souls is, for me, one of the underrated horror gems within the Criterion Collection. It's spine number 63. This was an early one, so I believe this was on an early DVD. But there's a ton of special features. As always, I thoroughly love this movie. And I should mention, it's a swift 78 minutes. So if you've not got much time to watch one, put this one on, you won't be disappointed. So number 6 on this Criterion horror list, because I promised that I would give you an extra one if you stuck around. So if you're still here, thank you. Number 6 is The Silence of the Lambs, the Jonathan Demme film. Now, this film is iconic and very famous. I'm sure most people watching this have seen it, but if you haven't, I implore you to check this movie out, particularly the Criterion disc, which is taken from a new 4K restoration. Looks and sounds amazing. Some people might not consider this a horror film necessarily because it probably fits more into the thriller genre, but obviously the lines can be blurred between thriller and horror, and I certainly think this is horrific. The performance from Anthony Hopkins as Hannibal Lecter is truly chilling in many parts, and it kind of shines a light on the horrors of real life and that people like Hannibal Lecter are out there, and that's scary, and it really does leave you with this lingering feeling of paranoia, dread, and that's what the great horror movies do. You know, when the movie has ended, you're still left with that feeling that you kind of have to try and shake off for the next few days. Or at least that's how I experience The Silence of the Lambs. One of my favourite horror movies for sure. I'm so glad this came back into the collection on Blu-ray. And this Blu-ray is stunning, great special features. I love the packaging. I love the artwork. I love everything about this. Spine number 13 as well, for anyone that wanted to know that. So yeah, that's my final recommendation for Criterion movies to watch this Halloween season. So there you have it. Those were my top 5 plus 1 Criterion horror movie picks for this Halloween. Now, I'm sure many people will disagree with some of the choices here. That's not to say that there's tons of great horror movies within the collection. These were just the 6 that I picked off my shelf today. I love these movies, but there's so many other great ones, so if I've missed off one of your favourite horror movies within the Criterion Collection, please do let me know in the comments below, and we could get some good discussions going. I love that kind of stuff. Before I go, I want to say a big thank you to my Patreon supporters, my Fellini fanatics. I'll include your names on the screen right now. If you've not checked out my Patreon page, it's patreon.com/boutique Blu-rays. I make exclusive videos there for my Patreon supporters, and you can ask me to make certain videos about Blu-ray collecting, about the Criterion Collection. So yeah, please do go and check it out. There's exclusive stuff on there. And if you sign up to Patreon, you can join our exclusive community where we talk about films and Blu-ray collecting and Criterion Collection, all that great stuff. So do check it out in the link in the description. If you want to stick around on the channel for more Criterion recommendations, then just click one of the videos that's going to be suggested to you now, because I'm sure you could get some great recommendations from me. Anyway, I'll be back very soon, so until then, stay well and keep watching great Criterion movies.